What's an industry secret in the field you work in? Auto insurance agent. Please. For the love of God. Don't tell auto insurance agents more than you have to. They ask you a question. Just say, yes, or, no, and answer the question as straight as you can. If you go on and on about your life story, you will probably end up saying something you don't have to and making your rate higher. Or getting yourself declined. We want to get you that policy as cheap as possible. Only tell us what we need to know and don't say anything else. Edit. For some reason I have people in the comments accusing me of enabling fraud now? Fraud sucks and is dumb. Don't lie with your answers. I will reiterate to be upfront and honest when answering the questions they ask you. Just don't go off on tangents and say unrelated shit. In Microsoft Office, Word specifically, you can upload recorded interviews and it will transcribe it and ever have speaker 1 and speaker 2. 3 and 4. Basically, eliminating a huge annoying part of the job. Edit ** WTF. This blew up. Everyone who gave awards and stuff. You're animals. I love you all. Okay. Adding this edit. Haha. You do need to be subscribed to Office. Then when in Word, there is a dictate button. If you click it, dictate and transcribe should pop up. Click transcribe. Yes. It's not perfect. But for a reporter who is transcribing all day long and is definitely the most annoying thing ever that I dread doing on a daily basis. It's changed my life. The fruits and veggies you buy at the grocery store. Wash them. Knowing how to research the answer to a question is at least as or even more useful than knowing the answer to begin with. I made a living in IT for a decade with that mindset. I'm a musician. It's not really a secret, but 90% of our revenue is from merch. Spotify plays, show guarantees, etc. Everything is menial in comparison to shirt sales. In fact, a big reason bands tour as often as possible is because we can sell more shirts when we're in front of people. Edit. Thanks for the love, guys. To those asking, I sing for holding absence. I'm a dentist. Here's the lowdown on toothpaste. As long as it has fluoride, they are all basically the same. When I was in dental school, the Colgate lady came by and said that everything that says Colgate Total on it is all exactly the same. The only difference is the packaging. So whether it says whitening, or gum protection, or whatever else, it is all exactly the same. The exception is sensitivity. Toothpaste typically does have an extra active ingredient, KNO3, which helps with sensitivity. Don't ever feel obligated to buy the expensive toothpaste because you think it will be better for your teeth. Just buy whatever you like best. Library worker here. The majority of donations we receive do not end up in circulation, on our shelves. No matter how much you demand, we put them there once they're donated. The reason why this is because we only add items to the collection that we think will circulate, be checked out. Most libraries get funding based off of statistics. We don't want to waste shelf space on items that pay aren't checking out, as it won't improve our stats. So, unless the donated items are brand new, or by popular authors, we will not add them to the collection. We will also weed unpopular items from our collection with extreme prejudice for this reason. Much to our patron's horror. These books usually end up being sold at book sales to help generate funding for other library programs. As a beginner counselor, I worked with a lot of children and adolescents. Consistently, the discussion with my colleagues was how it was the parents who were the biggest problem and the kids were just adapting to a crazy environment. A lot of librarians will waive your fines if you have an excuse and you don't ask too frequently. Even large fines. Also, librarians don't care about your fines and aren't judging you. Please come back. We personally have more fines than you. Librarians are always overdue with their books. Edit. I wrote this before going to bed and it exploded overnight. Thank you, kind strangers, for the awards. I'm touched. All your fines are waived for life. Also, small grammar edit. BCI was nodding off when I wrote this originally. Not an industry I work in per se. But I used to be in a sales role. One of my customers was a milk bottling plant. I was somewhat surprised that they were putting the exact same milk in both organic and non-organic cartons. Turns out all of their milk is organic. But in order to not miss out on the sales of non-organic milk, they just bottle them differently and sell them at different prices. Former industry. Commercial radio. It's never caller 5. It's the caller who sounds best on air. You'd be surprised how willingly someone will do their job and even go above and beyond if you just compliment them for their professionalism, politeness and how they are helping them. Edit. Thank you all. Used to screen resumes for small companies. Job requirements are more of a wish list situation. Never let some unchecked boxes deter you from applying. You have no idea what the applicant pool is like. The biggest boon, especially at small companies, is someone who legitimately cares. Construction boy here. If your windows or sliding doors are tough to open and close, 9 times out of 10, we put your own dish soap on tracks and the thing works perfectly. It take 5 minutes and we charge 150. Dish soap people. It's better than WD-40 sometimes. A lot of successful artists at a certain level of success do nothing more than create a concept and employ several assistants, who are either current or graduating art students, who actually make the art itself, its reproductions or both. Edit. I know this is old news in the art industry and academy, but outside of it I found it very hard to explain my job to people. I do believe that films also romanticize this field and warp what a lot of outsiders think it actually is. If you order a pizza but like to choose your own toppings, it's often cheaper to choose an existing pizza like a meat supreme or something with loads of toppings, then swap out all the toppings for ones you want, than to go for the create your own option in the menu. Note: this is much less awkward if you order online than on the phone. As a former TSA worker, airport security is a lot of theater. TSA is constantly failing plain clothes inspections. I worked with a guy who got fired because someone showed him an ID with a picture of Mickey Mouse on it and he let the person through because he wasn't paying attention. Firefighters are trained on several areas and can specialize deeper into certain disciplines. Most of the emergencies we get called to are situations we have never been trained on. But with 4 of us on a fire truck we can normally figure out a solution. Weight loss industry. This might be obvious, but most of our business comes from return clients after they've gained their weight back, and then some. To be clear, the plan isn't rigged to make you gain it back, but the fact that it happens easily as a result of dieting keeps us in business. Teacher. The parents are more of a hassle than the students. I doubt that is a secret, but there it is. Former Bath and Body Works associate here. The sense they discontinue will come back with a different name and new marketing. They're just recycling the sense. A huge portion of online reviews, ratings, social media presence, etc. that you see for any given company are fake, paid for, or done by multiple accounts controlled by us. This includes a company's Glassdoor page, fake reviews about how great it is to work there so that the million negative reviews don't crush their page. I'm not saying it's every company out there, but it's been a lot of the ones I've worked for. Source: M. Copywriter. What are ethics? I surely don't know anymore. Edit. Rip my inbox. Dress codes and other rules bouncers tell you at the door are usually made up on the fly. I'm a fossil replicator and apparently the industry secret is the fact that we exist. So many people are blown away to learn that most fossils they see in museums are replicas. Edit. Okay. I'm heading to bed but I'll be back in the morning to continue answering questions since there are so many. Edit 2. We haven't done much with it, but the company I'm with does have their own Reddit to share fossils we find on digs and occasional stuff we are working on. Deep time fossils. The McDonald's ice cream machine isn't broken. The fuckers were just too lazy to clean it. Or more likely, none of the people working that day know how. It's a bitch and takes like 4 hours. It shuts off and makes you clean it. So rest assured it's gonna be clean. Just not when you need it. Not really a secret, but some wholesale nurseries will sell plants for a fraction less than public nurseries and big box retailers. Like 1 gallon of a shrub will sell for $16 at Home Depot. But at a wholesale nursery that same plant will cost like $2 minus 6. Edit. Some wholesale nurseries are open to the public. If in doubt, lubricate. I'm a machinist. I'm a teacher. If you as a parent will read with your child often and early, your child will thrive in school. I'm talking daily books read together from newborn to about 3rd grade. Every single day. No teacher can replace that. Edit. I thought we would all understand that there are always exceptions such as dyslexia and learning disabilities. So here's another industry secret. Your child will not always fit the school model. Teachers know that. And that's okay. We are all just people after all. Peace. This should be pretty obvious. But for big brand hotels, if you try to sneak above the hotel and call the corporate customer care line to demand compensation, complain. That customer care line will always call the hotel for the full story and not just blindly give compensation. Federal HR here. If you put the words from the vacancy announcement about what you need to qualify in your resume, you'll almost always be qualified. We search for those words instead of reading an entire resume. Edit. Let me clarify that we, or at least I do and those I train, will continue to scan the resume for similar experience, words, and not discount the entire resume immediately. After over 10 years of working for HR, you learn what you're looking for and how to do it. Some are easier than others. I know of some our folks who totally just say non-qual if it's not exact. I work in logistics for a massive manufacturing company. Money's not fucking real. $1,000 for 8 light bulbs. Edit. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole here. I'm just a glorified mailman who talks to a lot of people who are much higher up than me. When it comes to retail, if your night crew, day crew just dicks around all day and doesn't get anything done, leaving all of the work for you. If your day crew, night crew just dicks around all night and doesn't get anything done, leaving all of the work for you. Nobody uses bots to inflate metrics more than the most major players in the entertainment industry. All the numbers are fake, including sales. Scientists. We disagree with one another a lot more often than the media would often lead you to believe. The reason we're good at our jobs though is that, ideally, we like disagreeing with each other and we are able to move on when proven wrong. It's a part of the job. Edit. To the dude who gave me some random award and messaged me saying Trump 2020 you're an asshat. Scientists can disagree. But what that man is doing to America by not just pushing us to question science, but to actively oppose it is simply beyond the pale, and I'd be failing my personal morals as a scientist if I didn't full-throatedly say it is not normal. And it is not okay. Former aircraft fueler. Don't check your pets in kennels. Especially in summer or winter. They are submitted to some very harsh environments. Left on belt loaders in the sweltering heat right next to a running Apu that's loud enough to deafen human ears. Let alone a dog's. It's terrible. I always feel so sorry for them. American Airlines will destroy your luggage. They get overloaded on carts, fall off on the way to the plane, and are left there to get run over by tankers and yes, fuelers, and rained on. Then dragged to the edge of the ramp to sit all night while you arrive at your destination and wonder where the hell your bags are. If your departure is delayed, 90% of the time it's us, the fueler. Look out the window to the right side if it's a small plane. Left side if it's a really big plane. If there's a truck sitting under the wing. We're the reason you're late. Sorry. Edit. Look guys, I don't know what it's like for the pets on the flight. I've only seen them countless times left in kennels on belt loaders in the hot sun next to an engine. I was a fueler at DFW International for 6 years. I don't have insider knowledge of the airlines beyond my station. I would advise against checking pets if you can help it. But I don't have any advice beyond that. There are some people in these comments that worked for the airlines and have better knowledge. Second edit. Just want to let you guys know the pets in kennels are not always left outside. It's not an everyday occurrence and it's not just AAL that does it. I just fueled more AAL than anything else. But I've seen it happen more than enough times. I know a lot of people get annoyed when a store employee pushes the credit card. But at the kids' clothing store I worked at, if you didn't get at least X amount per day they cut our hours. I wasn't pushing you a shitty credit card to be an asshole. I was scared to lose my hours. Edit. I'm trying to reply to everyone but I didn't expect this to blow up. If you're in the same position or have been, I'm sorry you dealt with this too. It's honestly shitty and our minimum wage job should not depend on peddling your wonky store credit card, loyalty program. At Goodwill, we don't clean anything that we sell. And we get some really gross stuff that touches everything else, so next time you buy something from Goodwill, wash it well. If you're someone who purchases bulk nuts, grains, etc., just know that those bins are probably rarely cleaned. And even when they are cleaned, odds are they were just rinsed out, wiped down to look clean. I used to be a bulk buyer at Whole Foods Market, and when I took over, our bulk department had no cleaning logs or sanitizing procedure. The bins had moths, insect colonies and mold in them. Our store was opened nearly 5 years prior. If there's a lot of IT problems and your IT people look like they're working their asses off, it's because they don't know what they're doing. If things are smooth and it looks like your IT people don't do shit, it's because they know exactly what they're doing. The cheapest bottle of wine in the restaurant has the biggest markup. People mostly already know the answers to their problems. They just need to hear it from an outside source to be able to convince themselves to do something about it. Edit. Thank you for the gold, friend. Edit again. And platinum too. California. Cannabis concentrates. Don't trust that the test results are accurate at all. We were demanded, by the business owner, to use some dirty methods to cheat on potency testing and pesticide testing. Turns out, those tests can be pretty easy to trick if you know what you're doing. This is ultimately what led to me leaving the industry. Eventually, all of our chemists stopped smoking concentrates altogether for these reasons. Edit. Added state. The kind donations people give hoping they go directly to the clients in shelters actually end up at the Salvation Army or Goodwill to be resold, even though we're instructed to tell them that won't be the case. And this is done before the clients are even given the chance to decide if they want some of the donated stuff. Management hates IT. They don't generate revenue. Healthcare. Homemaker. If your grandparent or parent gets in home care, please know that your family member could live in a cockroach-infested house and not have to move if they didn't want to. It's not up to the company to give your loved ones environmentally safe places to live. It's up to the family. They can certainly try to persuade, but they can't force. Why do I know this? Because I've been to the cockroach-infested house where an 80-year-old woman lives. I have a mentally ill client that put bleach in his dog's water to help with its breath. I have a client who never cleans his cat box. I have a client who has a caved-in ceiling. I've called it in, but there is no help from the company. All they say is, "There's nothing we can do. It's up to the family members." It's a sad thing because there are so many family members and friends who really don't give a shit how some people are living. Sure, they'll visit, but do they clean the litter box? Do they make sure there are no cockroaches? Do they make sure the house is stable and not falling apart? Nope. They say they care and that they love the person, but they don't care enough to make sure they live in a healthy environment. It really worries me, because if I imagine my own mother having such a deteriorated mind and there were no other family members to help her, she could live in a run-down, cockroach-infested house if she was stubborn enough. It frustrates me, because whereas the clients have rights, should they really have the right to live somewhere where their health could be at risk? Where their caregivers could be at risk as well? Edit. I've never been actually told by my company that I'm obligated to report to Adult Protective Services. They only told me to call them and we'll work it out. They never informed me of ever taking it a step further on my own terms. I've never been given phone numbers for APS or animal abuse numbers. I'm only 20 years old and I'm barely a year into this job. So everything is new and I'm still learning about how this whole healthcare system works. I'd also like to add that I understand that there are different perspectives. I am well aware that many elderly, mentally ill are severely stubborn and won't let you help. I know, because I care for these types of people and hear about them often. I am not disregarding your struggles. I simply wrote this post when I was overwhelmed and stressed from work. I've met many families who care for their families and bless you all who do. We need more of you in the world. At Goodwill 50% of what you donate ends up in the trash. BC, we don't have the space for it or we just deem it too ugly. Everything at the Container Store exists and is cheaper at Lowe's. Edit. Even the drop front shoeboxes. If all other vitals are fine, and they're not in any sort of visible respiratory distress. Most don't physically count respirations each time vitals are taken. I'm not training your dog. I'm training you. Edit to add. I'm getting a lot of training questions. I understand the need for dog training, but don't have the time, or honestly the will, to answer them all. Basic obedience is really easy to find online. Just be consistent with your approach. For issues regarding any level of aggression, I recommend finding a local trainer who can actually look at the dog. If you're absolutely broke and desperate and dealing with a serious issue, Feel free to DM me and I'll do my best to advise a bit. This seems to be a secret to many customers. It actually pays off to be patient and polite if you need the staff at a store to resolve an issue or help you with something. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now check out one of these interesting videos.